Hello everybody and welcome back to Living the Florida East Coast. My name is Andrew Pinch, your realtor for any home up and down the stretch of the Florida East Coast. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about Vero Beach. Is it really like nothing you've ever heard before? We're going to kind of try to turn back or pull back the curtains a little bit and talk to you a little bit about some of the downfalls along with some of the things that are, going along with living here in Vero Beach and will come along with it. Things that you may not have thought about before. So first of all, I'm just kind of gonna randomly spit out some things first here too. I'm here in the morning, so it's about 9 o'clock in the morning and I have to sit underneath the shade because I tried recording this while walking down the beach and I'm not kidding, I was about to be just drenched in sweat. So that's gonna be the first thing I talk about is just the insane amount of heat. So where I wanted to kind of twist that and make it, kind of useful for you guys, because you already know that Florida's hot, is I wanted to talk about the orientation of your house before you buy it. So to give you a little bit of an example, my house, the front door faces west, and that means the backyard and the back patio area faces east. So if we were morning people, or I wouldn't say like morning before the sun rises, but if the sunrise was coming up and we wanted to have coffee on our back patio, we really wouldn't be able to do it. We'd be sweating before the day even got started, because this morning sun, especially here in July, August, whenever this video is going to be coming out, I'm recording it here in the heat of the summer, then it's just going to be way too hot to do so. Also, I do want to say though, I do like the way that our house faces, because we can be out in our back patio during the afternoons and be completely comfortable, because our house, of course, is blocking that entire sun. So a western facing house is not a big deal if you do plan on spending your afternoons out in the back patio. Maybe you have a swimming pool, something like that. But the orientation of your house is huge, especially if you plan on living here year round, or just having this as maybe even a summer home, which not a lot of people do, but I have heard it before. All right, so the next kind of random thing that I wanted to spit out here too is if you look out here, it's about 9:15, 9:30 a.m. right now, I'm not too sure. But in a few hours here at about 3 p.m., you could just about set an alarm to it. This is probably gonna look like a mini hurricane hitting Florida, because every single day during the summer, just about, we are getting some big squalls coming in around 3 p.m. that last maybe an hour or two, but they are intense, very serious. Sometimes they could just be a light drizzle, so they'll go from a light drizzle to kind of an intense hurricane looking thing as you go outside. So when I'm talking about that is, 2:55, perfectly beautiful sunny day with low waves. And then 3 o'clock comes around and all of a sudden we're just getting slammed with giant waves. If your neighbor has trash outside, and for the next day of trash pickup, it may be on your front lawn, you can look outside, your palm trees are gonna be blowing sideways. It's just kind of crazy to even think about the fact that just about every day we're getting storms like that. So be prepared. If you have anything important going on in the afternoons, you might want to try to bump it in the morning like I'm doing for this video. Otherwise, I'm in for a rude awakening and I'd have to stand under here for a couple hours while this thing blows over. Next, because we're on the beach, I wanted to talk about the farmers markets. And more importantly than just the farmers markets is also just all of the outdoor events that happen here in Vero Beach. So first of all, farmers markets, they shut down some parts of Ocean Drive here, and Ocean Drive is just right up this way where I am. But so they'll have local vendors and tents and live music and things like that going on. But really, you want to get there early, because it goes on till about noon. Maybe starts at like 7:30 to 8. And I recommend definitely getting there right whenever it starts, because right now the reason I'm standing under this thing is because it is way too hot out there to be walking around and recording a video. So we went last week, way too hot in order for us to keep staying there, and highly recommend just getting there early, and then that way you get the best pickings as far as what is there and what is offered as well. So that's one thing. Next thing too, as far as outdoor events go, so the Walking Tree Brewery had a street party. And at the street party, by the way, I ran into a subscriber. We were standing underneath a tent and we had a conversation for about 15 minutes. So he saw me, recognized me from the videos, and we talked for about 15 minutes or so. I'm telling you, even underneath the tent with a fan blowing on us and everything, we were both drenched in sweat by the end of it. So very, very kind of thing you got to keep in mind. Walking Tree Brewery, you may want to consider moving your anniversary to another date. I know that's not technically possible. You can't change the day you open, but you might want to fib a little bit and tell people it's in November, because that block party definitely should have been a lot more crowded than it was, just because of that heat was insane. Okay, now randomly kind of spitting out some other things too. Wanted to talk about the rental market here in Vero Beach. So we are having 2 new apartment complexes that are being built on the side of State Road 60, and it's going to contain 473 units. This is going to be split between 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units, ranging in size from anywhere between 500 square feet for the single room units to 2,000 square feet. Rents are going to be ranging here between, I think, $1,800 to $4,000 a month. So these are premium communities, and they have began pre-leasing ahead of the anticipated summer openings. So that's going to be probably down in like September, I think. I've already been getting emails from people who are going to be moving there, moving to these apartment complexes already in my inbox. They want to start shopping for houses. So that is pretty cool to see. All right, now kind of moving on to some single family home rentals that we have as well. So I'm going to give like a little shout out. Hopefully this will get his rental unit rented. But I've got a buddy, Dave. I've sold a few of his houses. He's a client of mine, and also a good friend too. He's got a house up in Sebastian, which is a 3-car garage in a gated neighborhood. I think the neighborhood has a pool. He only wants $2,350 a month for this 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. And honestly, it's like the most beautiful home I've seen in that price range in Sebastian. So I'm kind of trying to scratching my head as to how these Vero Beach apartments are going to get anywhere between $1,800 to $4,000 whenever he can't rent out a single family home, which I think is more desirable, for $2,350. So let's talk more about the rentals here too. I kind of recommend the VRBOs or the Airbnbs for short-term rentals if you do want to come over here and start shopping for property. You can get a 6-month lease. So a 6-month lease is also something that you can take advantage of, but just know that a lot of the times with the 6-month lease, especially if it's during the season, you're going to be paying double rates for the 6-month lease, which means you could have just probably rented something at an annual basis or annually and paid the same amount of money at the end of the lease. So that is definitely something to consider when you are shopping for a property and you want to rent, and then probably learn a little bit more about the area that you're considering buying in. Now let's pivot a little bit and start talking a little bit about new construction, something you hear me talk about a lot on this channel. So first of all, we're going to discuss build time. So what I wanted to say about that is if you drive past it and the lot isn't cleared, it could be anywhere between 12 months to probably 18 months to get that house done if the builder is diligent. Just know that there are some other builders out there that have spec homes that are ready to go, but let's just talk about the build time for these vacant lots here first. The reason why it takes so long to get these things done is Indian River County. So you've heard me talk about why I love Indian River County, because it does cap the growth on the amount of people moving here. One of the reasons for that is because it takes so long to get these permits approved. So we're talking about 6 months is probably the average of what it costs to get the permits pushed through in order to get a house done. So that is one thing I wanted to talk about there too. Now kind of pivoting over to which builders have spec homes available. So a lot of the DR Hortons out there have spec homes. Adams Homes has a lot of homes that are probably available now. That's within the Sebastian area, so they're about one and the same. Vero Beach and Sebastian is. If you want to push it up to Palm Bay, you've got LGI Homes with my buddy Ricky and Ed. Worked with both of them before. Very great people. So LGI Homes, they have a ton of inventory that's ready to go now. Yeah, so that's just kind of what to expect there too. Price wise, you're paying about the same, if not even a little bit less than what you are for resales. And everything's brand new. The roof is new. It's built up to the current codes. The AC is new. You've got warranties on things, and you can buy on a scattered lot with the same size lot as the resales that we're seeing here. So the 1/4 acre lots that were already developed before, of course, the house was being built. This was just whenever the Sebastian Highlands or whatever was being established, and those lots were being capped out for about 10,000 square foot each. That's one thing to consider there. So now let's pivot a little bit and talk about what I would be looking for in a Vero Beach home. Let's start off with a popular choice, and that is the starter home. I personally think starter homes are a mistake. Our first house was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,000 square foot, and we're not going to be going anywhere. The reason why I don't like recommending starter homes or smaller homes or things that you're going to have to grow out of is because we're going through a situation right now where a lot of people who bought these starter homes are unable to now sell the house and then move into a bigger home. They can't upgrade anymore. Why? Because prices increase, because interest rates have doubled, tripled in some cases. If you got a 2.5% interest rate, well, we are almost at 7% there. So that is, it's getting kind of crazy where we are. So we're almost there to the triple level of some of these people who got these low interest rates. So that is what we're going to call the COVID lock. Kevin called it in one of his videos. So that is one thing that I recommend avoiding is a starter home. Another one is going to be, you're going to want to avoid yeah buts. By yeah buts, what I mean by that is it's a nice home, yeah, but it's on a busy street. You know, it's a beautiful house, it's fully renovated, yeah, but there's power lines that are directly over the house, and those are main power lines that aren't going anywhere. You know, it's a great neighborhood, yeah, but the next door neighbor seems to, you know, not really take care of his stuff, and that's going to devalue my property. All these things are things you have to take into consideration, you know, like small closets or layouts, things that you can't really change easily are going to be difficult as far as resale value down the road. So that's another kind of thing that I recommend whenever you're looking for your Florida property to avoid there too. Also, you want to get educated on the HOAs around here. So we have some HOAs that are, you know, really easy to work with, like the one I'm in. I'm in Oaks of Vero, and I live across the street from the president. Ray is a great guy, Ray and Wilma, and honestly, we couldn't get along any better. It's perfect. It's exactly what I was looking for, because everyone maintains their property. It's a very laid back HOA as far as they're not going to tell you what you can and can't do and then get on your case about it unless you are doing something against the regulations. But they're not out of line. They're just like, you know, make sure your trash can's pulled up by a certain day. Make sure your garage doors close at night. You know, things like that. But they're not overwhelming. There are some things that are going to be a little bit tricky, like some HOAs don't allow pickup trucks. Some have regulations completely just out of line. Some don't allow pets. There's a lot of other things that you have to think about there too. So make sure you know which HOA you're buying. And if I can make one little recommendation too, this was my grandmother who actually recommended this. If you only get trash pickup once a week, which in any river county, that is the case for us, and the HOA requires you to keep your trash can inside your garage or hidden. As far as keeping in the garage, what her recommendation was to get a chest freezer in the garage, and anything that we don't eat that's like food wise or is going to deteriorate and stink up the garage, put it inside that chest freezer before it goes rotten, of course, and then that way it will keep, and then take it out of the freezer, out of the bag, put it into your trash can at the trash day, and you're good to go. It's going to take it, haul it away, and it'll defrost, and it's their problem after that. So that's one quick little tip that I'll give you here too if you do decide to move into an HOA and, you know, it's blazing hot outside and it's going to cook that trash. Ugh. You don't want to deal with that. So a chest freezer was a good tip from my grandmother that I'm now sharing with you. Now let's talk a little bit more about owning a house here in the summer. So one thing is the AC. So the AC is going to be worked a ton during this peak heat season that we're going through right now. So you're going to get a buildup of algae in the lines. And what I recommend is getting an AC service plan for like every 6 months to come out there and treat your lines. You can also take, I think it's distilled white vinegar, and pour it down there every now and then. That's one thing that you can do as kind of like a precautionary thing for it if you don't want to have the plan. But honestly guys, if you're going to buy a Florida house, invest in your AC. It is your best friend when you live here, and it's so worth having a plan for someone to come out there and maintain your air conditioning system every 6 months. Also, what I wanted to say is that wildlife picks up in the summer, so mosquitoes are out, the no-see-ums are out. If there wasn't a breeze right now, I'd probably be getting eaten alive by the no-see-ums because they love water. And then this is when it's a nice opportunity to have a screened-in patio. So we don't have a pool, but we do have a screened-in patio, and we hang out there, like I said, all the time because we have that west-facing door, and it's really nice during the summer whenever that house is blocking the western heat. So we love our screened-in patio. We do have some lakes in our neighborhood, so the mosquitoes and the no-see-ums are there. And then we do have some low storm drainage areas that hold some mosquitoes there too. So having that screened-in patio is very, very useful. Highly recommend doing that. Also, for people who are up north, sorry, I can't hold in the laughing, that are more worried about gators than they should. So there was a lot of people out there where they have told me that the reason they just did not move to Florida or won't even visit Florida is because of the alligators. Honestly, like when I tell you I haven't seen an alligator in my entire life of living in Vero Beach, I am not lying. I've seen one time, and that is whenever I was with a friend who had tags to hunt alligators, and we were out into a grove where they had we had permission to hunt them, and it was out in a canal situation. So that wasn't even in Vero Beach. I'm pretty sure that was out in Fellsmere. I was maybe 16 at the time, and that has been the only time I've ever seen an alligator in Vero Beach. I am not kidding you at all. So I'm laughing at me, but you know, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you straight up too. Up north, I would be terrified of bears, because at least with alligators, you know they're in the water, and they're in the swampy water too. I mean, you hardly ever see them here on the beach. I know there is videos of them swimming up and down the beach, but I've just never personally seen one, and we spend a lot of time here. I'm more scared of bears because you just go outside, you're taking your trash out, you never know where they're gonna be hiding. I mean, those things are massive, and they scare the crap out of me way more than a gator, because I know where the gators are hiding. I know their limitations. It's just kind of crazy to me that some people won't visit Florida because they're scared of gators, and I've lived here for 30 years. And the only time I've ever seen them is when I lived in Orlando, near Lake Jessup, and then when we went hunting for them out in Fellsmere. Guys, that's kind of just my rambling on about why Vero Beach is nothing like what you've heard before. And again, if you have any questions or wanted to reach out to me in order to, anything about buying, selling, living, sleeping, eating, whatever it may be on the Florida East Coast, make sure to reach out to me. My contact information, again, will be right here on the screen, and then also down in the description below. And I'll see y'all next week. Thank you so much. Look how beautiful it is, man. I'm just now looking at how pretty the water is on this video, and I think I'm gonna go take advantage of that. I'm gonna go jump in. No gators. I'll see you later. Bye.